I think some people will look at it and go, oh, but that's going to interfere with it. It won't. It's a mill. With this, it's a couple of nails. If you don't like it, pull it out, drill some new holes, go again. I have been using a polisher, which I wanted to show. I've got stuff everywhere. I'm not sure what Lani's actually updated you on, but I'm gonna run through a couple of things I'm gonna do today. And also, I'm gonna show you what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, just so we can explain it a bit better. So everyone knows, that's all. I'll start with a little couple of tips and what I'm doing. I'll be tiling this bathroom. I've tiled this shower nook area. I've put I don't know what they're actually called. I think they're just called alley trims, really. That's all I know them as. And I put that on just for shits. Put them on just for shits. And what I wanted to show was, I was going to tile this area here, and I was going to put this trim on. And I just wanted to show you how I actually put trim on. There's several different ways you can put trim on. You can put trim on with two-part adhesive, like a contact adhesive. So that is just like you spray it on the Exie, and then you spray it on the back of this, and you can just stick it on. But what happens is, if you're using, I have to put it down for a second. What happens is, if you're using a deep profile tile like I am, it's hard to show. I'll do some offcuts here, just for this. The deep profile tile, actually what happens is, if that was to go there, the tile takes up a lot of this space. Like usually it takes up about 12 mil of the space. So if you think 12 mil, it only leaves 8 mil of grip left. The contact adhesive these days actually is pretty strong, so it would work. But what I do is I get a drill and I use these flat parts here, and I drill myself a hole like so, and then I use these flathead nails that go straight through and hold, so you can actually nail it to where exactly where you want it. I find as though that this is so much better. Also, with the contact adhesive, if just say this is on a slight angle, or you didn't take quite as much pride as just nailing on some billboard because you knew that it was going to be covered up, it can push this out, this trim, and it can, if that's a wall, it can come and flex like so. With this, you can nail it, and then you can pack the back out to, like you can pack the back out when you glue it, sort of to keep it square. I don't know, it seems like a big waste of time, and you can't notice when it's fully tiled, but these are just things that I do that I feel as though that help it. Also, I wanted to explain a couple of other things when you're doing it for yourself. I'm by no means a professional tiler, so I sort of use every option when it comes to tiling that obviously the pros don't use, but the amateurs like me would use. So I've been using these slippage wedges, and I don't know what they're actually called. Yeah, wedge. Lippage. Not slippage, lippage system. So what it is it's just these white bits of plastic where you can get them from Bunnings, and it's by DTA. You can get them from Bunnings. I think they're quite expensive, that's the only thing about it, but when you look at it in a overall sort of situation, these floor tiles, these were sort of the pricier ones, but then we've gone a budget on the wall. We've gone a budget on the wall because there's 60 square meters of tiles. So yeah, you do the maths. It's not going to be cheap to do the wall. So we went a cheaper tile on the wall, which brought it down. I think the walls cost us $1,000. So the floor cost us $1,000, the walls cost us $1,000. That's cheap. Like, that is so cheap, especially when you're doing it yourself. You have time. Well, in circumstances, some people don't. Everyone's different, but in my instance, I have time. So I can go ahead $1,000 for the floor, $1,000 for the wall. What I'm trying to get at, if you spend $500 on these little bad boys, it's not actually all that much. It's $2,500 to do your whole bathroom. A professional would charge at least 10 grand to tile this bathroom, if not more. They might give you the miters instead of these little white trims, but that's stuff that is sort of out of my pay grade when it comes to tiling. Also, I wanted to show the powder that I'm using. I'm just using this Dave Co. This is also a Bunnings product. Dave Co. Powder Mastic. As a cement base rather than rubber. I sort of asked a couple of tiles for their opinion, and they said cement base. Once again, I don't know all that sort of lingo. I just do what I'm told, which they could be setting me up, but nah. But it's ideal for large format rectified edge tiles, so which is that sharp edge of tile, which is what I'm using. Also, it's an off-white. I found when I've tiled other jobs, I've used the right tiling glue, or whatever you want to call it, glue, adhesive, cement. And when it comes to cleanup, I've had to clean up a lot of the grout lines and I've had to clean it up really, really good, typically because it's a grey or it's a black, because it's got the rubber in it, glue. So what happens is it piles up here. These are pretty good. I'll try and find one that is, like for instance here. I'm not sure if you can really see that in there, but that's white. So that will just take a little bit of scratching out. Then when I go and put a light color grout over it, it doesn't interfere with it at all. There's no showing through, you can't see it at all. So that was another reason why I chose that powdered mastic or mastic. It's a white color. Wall floors, interior, exterior, coverage is 7 meters, which is a fair whack. Each wall is sort of 7 meters. Besides this big wall here, it's a bit over. So yeah, that's pretty much what I'm doing today. I'm going to do some tiling. The cutting, what I'm using to cut is I'm using I don't know what these are called, Sigma. And I picked this up off Facebook for like $100. There was an arm broken on it, and this here was actually broken. That's the old one there. And it was, I think the thread was gone in it. So I got my father to machine up a new one, and it holds in tight. I checked it with the square, with this line, like the cut line. I checked it with the builder's square. It's all back to working order. It used to be a big 1200 one, and I cut it down to a 900. It makes it more easier to carry around the houses. I also have, what else am I using? Oh, something else that I picked up is I've just been using this diamond cutter. It's just a basic, I don't know, you get them from Bunnings. And then also I have been using a polisher, which I wanted to show. I've got stuff everywhere. This polishing disc, which I picked up off eBay for like 10 bucks. Obviously you got to use safety PPE when you're using it, because it does throw off a lot of dust, and also a face mask. And a lot of these have silica and whatnot, or whatever it is in them. I don't know, I don't make the rules. Use your PPE and get one of these, because what it actually does is it polishes or repolishes the edge, especially when you can do a square. Like if you're pretty handy on a grinder, this just makes it pretty much back to brand new. Like it gives you back these rectified edges. If you're straight and you can run true with it. I think you got to use a little bit of water with them, but I haven't been using a little water. I think the water is because I'm not sure. I'm not even going to try and explain it because I don't even know. So yeah, so what I'm going to do this today. So I'm going to go mix up some glue, and I'm going to fix this off first. Sorry, I'll be fixing this trim off first, getting that in place. So the idea is, so I'll show you on this one. The idea is to have it hanging over 12 mil past this exy. It's sort of hard to explain, but hang over so it's flush or a mil per hour of the tile. I'm not actually sure what the pros do, but that's what I like. Looks good, feels good. And also it protects that grout a bit. I feel as though that if it's flush, the grout can get nicked. That's like a 1 in a million, but it's just what I like to do. Also, I don't mind the look of it. I don't mind the look of the alley trim. So I think that's another reason why I chose it. But at the end of the day, you don't need to explain to anyone what you're doing when you're doing it. As long as you like it and you've seen the result that it gives before and you're happy with that result, then just do it, because you're gonna be happy with yourself if you try and do something else that you can't really do. Because I wanted to do the miters, but I just realised I don't know what I was doing there. I can get it to miter, I can get the tile to miter, but then after the miter, like to get them all square and then like, yeah, nah, too much. Way too much. So anyway, I'm gonna get these tiles on the wall. Well, I'll mix some glue up and then try and get these tiles on the wall as much as I can. I've got another job to go through this afternoon. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do today. Also, I thought I might explain that, so it probably didn't really explain it very well, but when you drill that hole and you put a flathead through, it actually doesn't raise off the channel itself that much, off the trim. So it's not actually that far up. So once you put your glue, usually I use a 12 mil trowel, so that's 12 mil of glue. It's just, that's not gonna interfere. I think some people will look at it and go, oh, but that's gonna interfere with it. It won't, it's a mil. It's not gonna interfere with 12. So that's another thing that I wouldn't stress about. So again, just explaining it. Nails through this edge, up drill, the holes. And then this is what it looks like from the other side. The tile goes in and hits there, 12 mil of clearance there. With this, it's a couple of nails. If you don't like it, pull it out, drill some new holes, go again. I've got to cut this bottom run of tiles here because it's actually shorter than 300, which they're 300 tiles at their max. I think it's about 20 mil fall or 22 mil fall over that run. So I'm gonna cut these edge, get them set, and then from there we just go bang, 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 bang up. And hopefully, in a couple of hours time, we'll have that completely tiled. So from yesterday, this is what it's turned out like. That's fully wedged. You can't really see it, but there's no lip hit, or minimal, if anything. That's the trim. I've just started to take those wedges out there. It's come up pretty good, considering. So I'm just gonna strip these down. I don't recommend stripping these down this quick. Like people say, leave it on for 2 days, 3 days after tiling. But for my instance, I need them wedges. So I'll just take the wedges out and leave the spaces in there. Or if I get impatient, I usually take them out. And then, yeah, just knock off all those lippages. These little tags, you just knock those off with a soft mallet, like a white mallet. Not that one over there. And that will just clean all that up and it will look perfect. Well, in my mind, it will look perfect.